For now almost a decade, City Year Miami and their distinctive red jackets have impacted over 200,000 middle and high school students throughout Miami-Dade County. Focusing on both student achievement in and out of the classroom, City Year AmeriCorps continues to be an important resource for the area's most at-risk youth. So joining me now to highlight their latest plans both locally and nationally, we welcome Keith Fletcher, Executive Director and Vice President of City Year Miami, and Rolene Delva, AmeriCorps member with City Year Miami and team leader at Miami Carroll City Senior High School. Keith, thanks so much for taking the time. Really an important initiative. And the previous few episodes of Issues, we've had both superintendents on talking about the needs of our students. And can you talk maybe then about how you sort of complement what Miami-Dade County Public Schools are doing and possibly then also Broward County as well with City Year initiatives?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. We're
Absolutely.
Super, to quote our City Year mantra, we're fired up to be here and sharing the news of our work. And you hit right on it. All of our work is really rooted in the incredible vision and leadership of our local superintendents and the tremendous partnership that they provide. But what City Year does is we harness the power of young people, young idealists that literally come from all over the country, with a large percentage coming locally, as Rolene will share with you momentarily. We harness the power of these young people to serve as tutors, mentors, and role models and go into our highest needs schools and focus on the highest risk students, focus on improving their attendance, their behavior, and their course performance in math and English with the end goal of keeping them on track to graduate on time with their peers.
How do you do that exactly?
So a number of different ways. We have a number of attendance initiatives, and we'll get into those in a moment, but we really focus on trying to help the students who've been chronically absent, and we define chronic absenteeism as missing 10% or more of the school year, which is roughly 1 month of instruction. So you can imagine if you miss 1 month of instruction, you're not going to achieve well academically. We focus on, with the behavior, we focus on students who have been perennial sort of out of school or detention students, and we do some mentoring in that space. And in the academic space, we focus on differentiated instruction. So we do, through common lesson planning and tremendous partnership, data sharing, tremendous partnership with the school district, we really hone in on providing the right intervention at the right time. So we fill the gaps that maybe the schoolhouse isn't resourced to provide.
Yeah. Rolene, what's your experience been, and how did you come to join City Year?
So a friend of mine did City Year, and I asked her what she did after she graduated, and she told me City Year. So I looked it up, and then I applied, and I got in, and now I'm here. And last year I served as a corps member, and it was an absolute phenomenal experience. I really enjoyed it, and the reason why I'm back now as a team leader, because I really believe in the mission of City Year, and I love what we do. Like the near-peer relationship that we have with the students is one of my favorite parts. We're really just mentoring students. We're cultivating the relationships, and therefore it kind of helps with like attendance. Students come to school and their behavior is improving, things like that. And so as a team leader this year, I'm really enjoying actually being the one to like facilitate a team and lead a team to do the work that I love to do, being in the classroom. And I really want, like at the end of the year, when students, like when my team walk inside their classroom, students are like, oh my goodness, City Year is here. Like I really want that for my team. And so that's why I'm back and I'm here ready to do the work of City Year.
Right. It's such an important topic, right? Education itself, and specifically education of everyone. And the right to a quality education, I think, is a matter of justice for our country. And the education system, as we know in South Florida, it is stressed. Teachers are stressed, and they're spread too thin. And I guess, right, so this is a complement
Absolutely.
to the curriculum. Can you talk maybe a little bit more about the academic component of City Year and how what you're doing exactly, I guess maybe to supplement the work in the English and math classes in particular?
Sure,
right?
Sure. And I would just pause to say I agree with your assessment that it's not just a moral imperative to make sure that every student has a right to a quality education regardless of circumstance or zip code, but it's also a pragmatic imperative for our community, right? For the there's a lot of implications around a lack of educational attainment and how that affects everything from health outcomes to incarceration rates, which we'll talk about momentarily. So it's a pragmatic imperative for our community to really invest in where our highest need schools are. So in the academic realm, we focus on differentiated instruction. So what that might look like, and this will be a sort of a broad generalization, but let's say there's a 90-minute the 90-minute class. A teacher will come in and give 30 minutes of common instruction, and if you imagine a class of 30 with 3 tables of 10, the teacher will then work with sort of the highest performing 10 students, and our core members through small group and or individual attention will work with 10 students who might be struggling with that particular module. I think what's important to know about our model is that we don't link a student to the stigma of low expectations. So again, if a student may be struggling with polynomial equations but not with fractions, they may or may not need a city year intervention to get through the different modules. So we provide, again, the right intervention at the right time to progress. So we're working with sort of the lowest, sort of traditionally lowest performing 50 to 60%, which, by the way, the American model of education says in a classroom of 30, the teacher only has the available bandwidth to help about 20% or about 6 kids in that class. Yeah. In the classrooms where Rolene and nearly 200 young people that don the red jackets daily serve in this community, the numbers that need some sort of individualized support are roughly in the 60 to 70%. So you're looking at 18 to 21 kids in those classes that need special support. So that's where we come in. We do not come to town bringing the city year model. We train on what the districts want, right? So we do common lesson planning. We make sure that we're delivering the interventions that they want to see to drive the educational outcomes that are important to them.
Rolene, what are you currently doing at Carroll City Senior High? What is your role as a team leader?
Currently as a team leader, so my role is really to build a team and to really make sure that my team is ready to go inside their classroom and do the work. I connect with the administration and the different partners within the school, making sure that the team is equipped and ready to do what they need to do in the classroom. And so a lot of my work is really just walking around, ensuring my core members are okay in the classroom. Whenever my impact manager is in here, I'm making sure that as far as the partnership is okay, or I'm just assisting my impact manager in that, and a lot of data.
In Miami-Dade County in particular, and well, it's an unfortunate circumstance throughout the country. We have a lot of issues with gun violence, specifically students who should be in school and they're not, and unfortunately they become the victims of gun violence itself. You have a partnership with the U.S. Attorney's Office, correct?
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We're super excited actually to be launching the partnership actually next week. But the U.S. Attorney's Office has had this violence reduction partnership in place since 2014, and we're a new partner in this. And it's partly because I believe that the vision of City Year should be more than just academic interventions, right? We understand that communities don't get better until parents feel good about sending their kids to the schools that are adjacent to them, regardless of what their school grade is. So moving a school from an F to an A doesn't matter if the parents aren't comfortable sending their kids there. So this is a really big vision from the U.S. Attorney's Office. We're super appreciative. What happens is our AmeriCorps members are partnered with local law enforcement officials, local volunteers, matched with children in sort of the 5 zip codes where gun violence is highest. We go in once a month and we read to the young people, and then we also provide them with a book. Many of times this is the first book that those kids have ever had. And we also do some anger management and life skills work. We talk a lot about the bigger tensions in the community, and we need to understand that everyone has a role. And for me, with the way I view City Year, we have a role in helping create an asset-framed narrative. We want more positive interactions between community and police, so that whenever there's an issue, hopefully people remember that.
Rolene, what's your perception of the reaction of students when you come in and do these things? Are they receptive? How do they feel? How do they react?
So when we come in, as far as what
as far as the gun violence initiative, perhaps, yeah.
At the moment, we look at it and we're like, are the students receiving it? Are they getting it? Because at the moment they're not really reacting to what we're doing. But towards the end, you're kind of hearing feedback towards the end, especially towards the end of our year, because by the end of the year we're leaving, and the students are now realizing, oh my goodness. And at that time you really see that, no, they really did take exactly what we said, and they really did enjoy, and they really appreciate what we did for them in that time and during those times, and they made it known at that time. So in the moment, no, but definitely towards the end, yes, they do.
Right. Segueing to, you had alluded to at the outset, the absentee issue, right? And parent involvement is such a key component of the success of any student. You don't want them too involved, but you don't want them uninvolved, right? And so for the uninvolved parents, it seems as though My Brother's Keeper program with the White House sort of helps to address the chronic absenteeism by forging these kinds of interpersonal, virtuous relationships, right?
That's absolutely right. So Miami-Dade County was one of 10 pilot sites, and City Year is at the request of the district and in support of their vision to help focus on chronic absenteeism. We actually have 3 schools in the My Brother's Keeper initiative, Cutler Bay Middle, Madison Middle, and Miami Northwestern Senior High School. And I'm actually pleased to announce that in the coming weeks we'll be moving into 6 additional schools to focus on this absenteeism issue. But our folks that wear the red jackets, they really are like sort of success coaches and success mentors for these folks. And what does that really mean? That means a couple of things. That means that we're actually on the phone with parents and families or guardians or caretakers, understanding why kids aren't in school, right? Because part of our work has to be about removing obstacles. So we know if a student is suffering, can't see the board, or is a victim of abuse in the household, or has poor dental health and can't get to school, or maybe doesn't have food at home, right? We know that if we can remove those obstacles and get kids into the classroom, they're gonna learn. They're
gonna learn. Okay, thanks for taking the time. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today, but people can visit cityyear and read more.org. For more information on the work being done by City Year and Miami, how you can get involved, as we just mentioned, visit cityyear.org/Miami. Up next, one group looks to commemorate the 15th anniversary of 9/11 attacks through interfaith dialogue. So stay with us. Is to be an important resource for the area's most at-risk youth. So joining me now to highlight their latest plans both locally and nationally, we welcome Keith Fletcher, Executive Director and Vice President of City Year Miami, and Rolene Delva, AmeriCorps member with City Year Miami and team leader at Miami Carroll City Senior High School. Keith, thanks so much for taking the time. Really an important initiative.
Here and sharing the news of our work. And you hit right on it. All of our work is really rooted in the incredible vision and leadership of our local superintendents and the tremendous partnership that they provide. But what City Year does is we harness the power of young people, young idealists that literally come from all over the country, with a large percentage coming locally, as Rolene will share with you momentarily. We harness the power of these young people to serve as tutors, mentors, and role models and go into our highest needs schools and focus on the highest risk students, focus on improving their attendance, their behavior, and their course performance in math and English with the end goal of keeping them on track to graduate on time with their
How do you
peers.
do that exactly?
So a number of different ways. We have a number of attendance initiatives, and we'll get into those in a moment, but we really focus on trying to help the students who've been chronically absent. And
For now almost a decade, City Year Miami and their distinctive red jackets have impacted over 200,000 middle and high school students throughout Miami-Dade County, focusing on both student achievement in and out of the classroom. City Year AmeriCorps continue, and the previous few episodes of Issues we've had both superintendents on, talking about the needs of our students. And can you talk maybe then about how you sort of complement what Miami-Dade County Public Schools are doing, and possibly then also Broward County as well with City Year initiatives?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely.
To quote our City Year mantra, we're fired up to be